Marca, identidad, imagen, reputación son diferentes percepciones que los grupos de interés tienen sobre una compañía. Las reputaciones se van conformando de la propia experiencia de cada uno con la empresa, las acciones que ésta lleva a cabo y las influencias de terceros, especialmente los medios de comunicación. En Diálogos, hoy damos la palabra a Charles Fombrun, presidente del Reputation Institute, que nos habla de las ventajas de haber acometido una buena gestión de la reputación a la hora de atravesar una crisis económica como la actual y nos pone al día de las bondades y maldades de Internet para la imagen de las empresas.
Well, reputation varies by industry and by sector and by country. So certainly you can expect that the recession has had a major impact, especially on the financial sector, since most of them were guilty of causing the recession globally. So I think the banking sector has been reeling to recover and struggling very hard to recover from that impact. But of course, certainly in the US, we've seen the repercussions of the crisis in the auto sector and in many other industries that have created a whole halo of negative reputational involvement. Now that said, there are some companies that are also taking advantage of the crisis and are able to better deal with it than others. So you can think of reputation as a reservoir of goodwill. And if the goodwill is there, your customers tend to stay with you. Investors will also stay with you. So we see less churn in terms of investment patterns and as well with repercussions all around the sector. The value of most companies now is embedded in their intangibles. If you counted up every share owned by a company and every physical plant and every bank branch, you would never amount to the market value of what they have. The difference between their market value and their book value, in fact, is their reputation. So the reputation capital, we measure that by asking people what they think, how much they trust, how much they admire, and how much they respect the companies that are in question. Well, periods of growth tend to have with them an overconfidence building a role. So companies that were doing well during the growth period may have rested on their laurels somewhat. So I think we're seeing a bit of that effect in certain sectors where conditions got lax and perhaps they did not prepare sufficiently for the possibility of things going wrong. Well, I think it involves the same things that you would do even without the crisis. It is a constant process of doing everything well. You have to have your employees on board. That is, they have to believe in what you're doing, so you have to be aligned with your employees internally. But you also have to be aligned externally with the different communities you serve, with the different financial communities that you work with, and with all of the different regulatory bodies that you have to constantly interact with. Well, there are many things that are called CSR that maybe should not get that name. Corporate social responsibility, I think of as all the good things that companies do to meet their responsibilities to the communities that they're involved in. That should encompass and should be part of the nature of doing business. So it's not about window dressing or what has been called greenwashing. It's really about the fundamentals of the business and trying to make sure that you have those relationships well established. Now, that said, yes, I think we have had a lot of window dressing in many sectors. The social media seems to have taken up a great deal of attention lately, both in our research and in the work that companies are doing, in part because it's a new mechanism by which people can voice their concerns, and it's also an empowerment for people. So it's meant that the individual can speak almost as loud as an ad campaign on television because they reach so many people so quickly. So social media, I think, is becoming an important sector and medium by which we both create and destroy reputation capital. And it means that companies need to learn how to very systematically manage that interface.